Okay, I'm live. So, this is my second video for today. What I want to talk about is how, well, one way that you can avoid being gang stalked in your neighborhood. Now, this is pretty obvious, but it might not be obvious to the person that is always at home or you work from home. So, one easy way to avoid being gang stalked in your neighborhood is to get a job where you're not working at home. The only way that you can work from home is basically if you are in a good environment, in a good neighborhood where gang stalking is not promoted and tolerated. So, the best thing for you to do if you're just tired of watching the neighbors across the street, doing these strategic things. You're tired of, just feeling overwhelmed at home by the annoyance that they deliberately try to put upon you. One of the things that you can do is get a job. And when I mean get a job, I mean get a job outside of your neighborhood. If you have to commute like at least 30 minutes, you want it to be at least 30 minutes to an hour. Sure, you're going to spend a little more gas money, but that gives you space from the neighborhood that you're in. You don't really want to have a job in the neighborhood close to where you are. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I'm not saying that you can't survive doing it that way, because I have personally been able to in certain places, and in other places it didn't feel so much that way. If you get a job outside of the neighborhood, one thing that prevents is the neighbors being able to easily stalk you, being able to easily, keep tabs on you. And also, if you form a relationship with these other people away from your neighborhood, then that gives you more support. And it's harder for them to just come in and be invasive if you have been able to build good relationships with people outside of your neighborhood where you work. Also, when you get a job, try to do it in the spare of the moment, meaning already have your resume ready. If you have more than one version of a resume, then make sure you have all those, at hand. Update your resume at times that you're not going to be applying for a new job. You need to be more spontaneous when it comes to looking for a job. Don't refresh your resume and then go look for a job. Just, play with your resume here and there on a daily basis, or, you know, like I said, spontaneously. So that really takes the gang stalkers off guard. They're not able to keep up with your patterns as well as they think that they can. Doing things in a spontaneous way is one of the best things you can do as a person that's being gang stalked. Another thing you want to do when you're being gang stalked when it comes to a job is make sure that you do the proper follow up. Make sure that you are calling these people. If you don't get a a return phone call, make sure you call them, because a lot of times when the gang stalkers are hacking your telephone and putting these wedges between the communication that you're trying to get through to someone else to get that job, one of the things that they will do is they will prevent you from getting your voicemail messages. So, what you'll do is you'll be applying for a bunch of jobs. You know that this doesn't make sense because your resume is a good resume. You have great qualities, great skills. You applied to one of the same jobs like 10 times at 10 different locations. Why haven't you got a call back? That doesn't make sense. You have no messages on your phone. What you need to do as a targeted individual is you need to call the employer yourself. This is basic and standard in any job process, regardless. So you need to call them back, ask them, hey, it's been like 2 weeks, it's been a week. I just want to know what my status is. Oh, we've been trying to get in touch with you. We've called you a couple of times. I left you voicemails and I haven't heard anything back from you. Oh, really? That's interesting because I haven't gotten any voicemails. Then all of a sudden, you decide to look at your voicemails again. Then all of a sudden, they magically pop up, and there's not one employer looking for you. There's two, there's three, there's four. Your resume does work. It's the gang stalkers trying to stop you. So, what I've realized is that yes, gang stalkers try to stop your opportunities. They don't want you to actually really get a job because their job is to watch you. And the best place and easiest place for them to watch you is when you're at home. So, you getting this job in another location and you following up to make sure you're going through the full application process is essential for people who are gang stalked. If you cannot get through to the employer, the next thing that you want to do is show up in person. I love to show up in person. You can see what's going on. There might be some gang stalkers there but the thing is, you'll know. So you'll have a good warning of what type of environment it's going to be. If you just want to be there to get the money because you need to make some money, you need to do what you need to do, at least you'll know who the gang stalkers are, that the gang stalkers are there, that they've given people word, so you can know kind of how things are going to go. Always have another backup job that you can possibly go to. Make sure that you don't ruin relationships in the work environment, because there are going to be some people who are there to push you outside of your natural element as a worker. If you happen to get fired, be a professional about getting fired. Don't cuss them out. Don't have this huge outrage. Don't start throwing things. Don't start knocking things down. Just, get fired with honor, because you are an essential part of the team and you know that you're an essential part of the team, and it's going to hurt them more to let you go than it is for you to go out there and find an even better job. So you leave with dignity. Do not get upset. This is exactly what they want. So then it'll be harder for you to build your resume, because when you're doing references, you would like to, and this is one thing that they do when they're gang stalking or targeting a particular person. They want to make sure that you don't have references. So they're, doing certain things so that you won't feel comfortable with, putting their name on there and saying call. They don't have to call the business or company. Remember that you are an essential asset to the team. Your skills and everything that you have is more than, a reference phone call. Even though it's important and it's essential, you can always get references. There's people that are going to be on the job that like you. There's people that are going to be on the job who also need references. So don't let that, you know, frighten you. When you get on the job, do not worry about the gang stalkers that are on the job. The only time you need to be concerned about the gang stalkers that are on the job is when it is becoming detrimental to you, detrimental to your health. You're becoming extremely overwhelmed. The mental abuse is more than you can handle. I recommend that if there are signs of mental abuse, that you go ahead and plan your escape. If you're going through if anybody in your family is going through any type of issues, plan your escape. If you have another backup job that treats you better, get out of there. Your health is way more important than the money. You will be able to build and get money other places. That's why they were not the only people who made you offers. There were other employers who were interested in you. So, God has your back. Don't be concerned about that as much as you think that you should be. And if they are gang stalking you and you're really concerned, then go ahead and start filling out the application. Don't give them any signs, don't give them any hints. They may know, they may not. Go ahead and start getting your application ready at the next job and put in your 2 weeks notice or whatever you have to do. Whatever you do, just make sure that everything you do it professionally, do a good job. Keep track of your personal status. If you're someone who can bring in the crowd and create massive sales, then you need to remember to put that on the resume. If you're a person who goes in doing one job and then they ask you to do multiple jobs, that's something you can add to your resume. If you're the type of person who goes into a place and you basically change the whole place and make it so much more better because they weren't doing this before you came. You walked in, it was a mess. When you got there, it was a show, and the show was professional. The merchandising was awesome. Make sure you put these type things on your resume. There may be an upper person that sees you and dismisses you. But remember, there are people who are above that upper person who also see you. And they will remember you for your good work. And when you get to that job, if you decide to work there again, the other person who was treating you wrong or got you wrongly fired may not be there anymore. And then there will be new people. But that one person who was a supervisor, an area supervisor, or someone at a much higher level, they are still there and they remember you as a good worker. So you're basically going to be able to, you're basically going to be able to up your ranks. So never give up. Never show a bad attitude at these jobs when people are gang stalking you. Always let it be about your great performance. And when you do that, they are going to miss you. They are going to know that they made a big mistake by letting you go. That's how you want to leave a place if they're going to let you go. Okay? So, ND New York, oh, you're back online, I see. God. I'm pretty sure that whoever it was going to bring a smile to my face because I am somewhat of a friendly, smiley person at times. But you're not a mean person so far, so I guess I can't